Good afternoon, boys and girls. Rich Cottrell here from Mallory Whip Company, and today I want to talk about falls. First and foremost, I want to shout out to my friend Alyssa Iris for taking care of these for me. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful job. But as a result, so I sent these falls out. I sent some fall material. A friend of mine did some cutting of them and sent them back. And she had made mention to me that one of the white hides that I had sent her, which was a gift to me from a customer and friend, um, didn't quite seem right. And when I got it back, when I got everything back, I took a look at everything and I 100% agree. And so I want to take this opportunity to talk to a lot of the new up and coming whip makers, beginner whip makers, and everything when you're dealing with leather. Specifically, I want to talk about good fall material. Now, Adam Winrich brought it to my attention a long time ago when I first started and was talking with him. Brought it to my attention that unfortunately, sometimes one of the places that whip makers tend to kind of go cheap the most is actually with the fall. And a lot of times, what ends up happening with that is that after you spend all this time as a whip maker creating this beautiful masterpiece of a whip, you send it to your customer with a cheap fall on it, and eventually what happens is the fall just breaks apart almost instantly within a few cracks. So a friend of mine had sent me a slab of white hide. Now, this is no slant to the company that sent it to them. Matter of fact, I don't even think I'm going to name the company, but it was a well-known company who had talked them into buying a slab of white hide from them so that they could cut their own falls and replace their own falls on their whip. I have no clue how much the customer paid for that white hide. But I can tell you right now that the white hide is absolutely no good. So I want to talk about what you're looking for when you're looking for what is good fall material. Now, good fall material is going to be one, strong and tensile strength, and it's also going to be durable. Most of the time you want to look for something that is really packed tight, full of all sorts of oils, all sorts of waxes, because that is going to help that leather, which is going to take the brunt of all of the damage and abrasion and force and everything that's happening while you're cracking the whip, and it's going to take all of it. And so if you don't have good fall material, it's just not going to be good. Now, I want to present to you here two different types of white hide fall material, right? This is the stuff that I would say is no good. And I can tell you right from the bat, you can tell it's no good because as I just jiggle it around, it's quite noodly. It's very spongy to the touch. I can push in and it gives and it will squish and squeeze. And also one of the big tall tail signs of it not really being the best is that when I hold it up at the tip, it does this. This is no good. No good fall material. If I put this on a whip, it's going to snap in half on the first crack. Period. So you're going to spend all your time, again, crafting this beautiful masterpiece that you're making. You're pouring all your time and effort into it, whether you're doing it for yourself or you're doing it for a customer, and then you put this on there. It's no good. No good at all. Versus, this is some stuff that I've picked up from another friend. I've bought a couple of slabs from a friend of mine. Shout out to Blake Gorey for always being a good supplier and helping me with that. And this is the white hide that I get from him. And I want to show you the stark difference between good white hide and bad white hide. Good fall leather and bad fall leather, right? Now, I will always be the first person to say that Alum Tan Latigo is my favorite. It's what I find to be the most durable. It's what, when I began, it's what I had several people point me to use because it is the most durable. A good white hide is good, but it's still not as good and not as durable and isn't going to last as long as an alum tan fall. and bad fall material is just going to be no bueno. This is no bueno. This is the, you see, this is the good stuff. You see how it doesn't really noodle around a whole lot, right? But this, just all sorts of noodly, right? So maybe I could do something like this. This would be good. I'll do that. But anyways, and I'm also putting this out there, not just for whip makers, but also you whip collectors. Those of you guys who have learned how to cut your own falls. You know, I look at making your own falls, making your own crackers. It's kind of like if you're a musician, if you're a guitar player, you should learn how to change your own strings. You know, you should learn how to perform maintenance on your instrument, so forth. But whip cracking is just the same. And so a lot of you guys do that. If not, maybe you're thinking about it. But nonetheless, I want this video to go out there so that you guys can see what is not good, right? You don't want noodly, loose, supple leather that just kind of does this. You don't want this being the stuff that is going to take the brunt of all of the intensity that your whip is going to go through the cracking process, right? You want the best of the best of the best. And so what you're looking for good fall material is you want it to be good and stiff and rigid, right? That's number one. If it's spongy, if it's squishy, if it's stretchy, like this stuff here, let me find a good one that I know is good and stretchy. This stuff here is super stretchy. You can feel the stretch as you pull it. This stuff here doesn't stretch. It wouldn't stretch to save your life, right? So you want to look for something that's good and rigid and stiff, right? And you want to look for something that you can feel the oiliness, the waxiness to the touch. Now this white hide doesn't necessarily have that. It definitely feels a lot drier. And in most cases, when you get this in a hide, you actually kind of have to case it in order to get it to work well for you, which means you got to soak it in water, let it soak up and absorb the water very well before you start working with it, shaping it, cutting it, and doing everything else you want to it. If you try to cut it dry, you're going to hate yourself pretty quickly afterwards. Yeah, just a shout out. Make sure you guys get the good stuff. The problem is the good stuff is expensive. And that's 100% key. I will tell you that the good stuff is expensive, whether it's white hide or whether it's alum tan. Alum tan for a good solid thick, this is probably 4 to 5 millimeters thick here. My alum tan is roughly the same, 3.5 to 4 millimeters thick. It's 9 to 10 ounces. That's almost $300 for a side. And not all of that side is usable. You know, only the stuff that is closest to the backbone, and the further you get into the belly, the thinner and weaker the material is going to get, and so you have to be careful. So know your investment, but don't cheap on it, right? Remember, this is your whip. This is, one, if you're a maker, this is your craft. This is your name on this. You want to put out the best of the best of the best. And there's nothing more discouraging, and trust me, I've had it myself. I'm not exempt of it. There's nothing more discouraging to a customer than to be so excited to receive your whip in the mail and for them to go outside and within 10 minutes of cracking their whip, the fall snaps off. Now it happens. It happens to everybody. However, if it's happening because you are specifically cheaping on your fall material, getting the really cheap stuff, trying to cut corners there or something like that, now that's just going to damage your reputation and damage your name, and you don't necessarily want to do that. So I recommend invest on the good stuff. For starters, the one alum tan hide that I bought, $300, I still haven't finished cutting through the whole slab. I think I cut a slab out that was like 2 feet by 3 feet long for my falls. 3 feet is the length of my falls, 36 inches. I still have probably 8 inches left of that or more, probably maybe 10 or 11 inches left of that out of that 2 feet. And it's lasted me over an entire year. So it's a good investment. Those of you guys who are collectors who are looking to do this, you know, just an idea, you got a couple of buddies that you get together with and that you crack your whips with, it's not a bad idea to go, you know, half and half with each other and cover the cost of one, cut out the material, and use, you know, get a whip maker or something, or cut your own falls, whatever. Definitely a good idea. But nonetheless, I just wanted to put this out there. don't go cheap on your falls. Know what to look for when you're looking for fall material, so that way you're not putting um, you're not putting a turd on your really nice whip. You want it to be good. So yeah. So long story short, these falls are probably no good for me. This is not as a result of the person who I sent them out to get them cut whatsoever. This is the result of the company who sold bad leather to a customer, and just really not cool. But it's okay. It is what it is. Maybe I'll try to find something to do with it, or maybe I'll just. My son likes to play with a lot of stuff like this, so maybe I'll let him play around with them, and he can tear into shreds. But this is the good stuff. We'll use these on some of our indie whips. So y'all keep cracking at it, and I'll come back to you with another video some other time.